So, there's been a second night of protesting and rioting and looting in Philadelphia, and I do want to say that there was a lot of there wasn't as much rioting and looting as is being portrayed in the media. As a person who lives in Philadelphia, I can tell you that unlike the George Floyd protests, where the whole city was basically a free for all, last night it was basically concentrated in one section. It was West Philadelphia for the most part. I actually was downtown last night when I got off of work at like 12 in the morning. It was very quiet. There were officers patrolling, the streets more than usual for that time of night, but very quiet. Not a lot going on downtown. Not a lot going on uptown where I live. So it was most of the looting was in West Philly. The protesting was mostly in West Philly as well. There were actual protests, not just people looting. I do want to make that clear. That last night there were people who protested in West Philadelphia, near Market Street, and they were picketing with their signs, demanding justice for basically how black men are treated by the police, specifically the Philadelphia police, and also for the young man who was shot and killed by the police, while he was in the midst of a mental crisis. So, I'm going to put the images up on screen here so you can see it. You can see in some of the images people rioting, looting, they set fire to a Payless, smashing in windows. And you also see people protesting as well. There are clips of people who are just out and about, just protesting, not violently, behaving. They're just peacefully protesting. You can see both in a clip that I have on repeat for you right now. With this type of things going on, right? There's just been an uptick of people who feel as though that we need violence, that we need things like this. We need more looting, more rioting, and even we need all-out war with the system and with the police. And they think that physical violence is the only answer. And honestly, I don't blame people, because when they're constantly dealing with things like this on a daily basis, getting harassed by the police, you want to feel violent. You want to feel angry. You want to lash out. And I myself, as a black man, I've had a gun pulled on me by a Philadelphia police officer as I was walking my little brother to Walmart. I was 19 years old at the time. And, I've had the police see me in my basketball uniform on my way to basketball games and stop me and tell me I fit the description of someone who committed a crime and frisk me. I've dealt with this type of stuff my entire life. Definitely in my adult life. For sure, and even in my younger years as a child and as a teenager. This is something that we've all dealt with. My father, as a black man, was searched on his own property. Property that he owned. I've been grabbed by police before, with excessive force. So I understand what it feels like to be angry and want to lash out. And when I see things like this, I feel like this is never going to stop. Like it's going to keep going. It's like we don't need police to deal with mental patients. We need mental people to deal with mental patients. Like we got to totally restructure and reform how we do things. We got to end stop and frisk. We got to end broken windows policing. We've got to reform the policing system. But however, Today I'm encouraging people not to lash out. I'm reminded of what Martin Luther King says. There's two quotes here where he says the whirlwinds of revolt will continue to shake the foundation of our nation until the bright day of justice emerges. And that is so true. As long as there's not justice, people will keep rising up. People will keep revolting. There'll be more riots. There'll be more looting. But Martin Luther King also said, we must not allow our creative protest to degenerate into physical violence. And on another occasion, he said, here's the true meaning and value of compassion and nonviolence, when it is to help us see that the enemy's point of view, to hear his questions, to know his assessment of ourselves. For his view, we may indeed see the basic weakness of our own condition, and if we are mature, we may learn to grow and profit from the wisdom of the brothers who are called the opposition. So here, Martin Luther King is calling for peace. He's calling for compassion and nonviolence, and he's calling for empathy. Now, empathizing with somebody who's your opposition, you might be like, why should I empathize with them? They're killing innocent people in the streets, or they're killing people who should be given mental help, or I was harassed, or I was stopped and frisked. I'm speaking to my black brothers and sisters. Yes, I get all that. Totally understand. Totally understand that. But if we are ever to grow as people, if we are to be better people, we cannot stoop to the level of fighting violence with violence. We cannot become like that, because if we become like that, we become exactly what the system is to us. Violence and hatred will never solve anything. And, rioting and looting is only going to make it harder. Attacking police officers in the streets is only going to make it harder for black men like myself, who have to walk in those streets, and who has to work in those neighborhoods, and who has to walk through those areas. Because now they have an excuse. Oh, these people were violent toward us. These people attacked us. These people ran a car into us, or whatever. Let me lash out at them. If there's a fire, do you want to put gasoline in the fire? Or do you want to try to use water to douse the flames? This is basically my argument for nonviolence in this situation. So yeah, a lot of crazy things going on out there in my hometown, Philadelphia. And this time I'm not sure if it's going to spill over to other areas, like other cities and things, but I will keep you guys updated as much as I can on this situation. Truly like a tragic situation, tragic loss, and I don't know, hopefully people remember this, and hopefully some reform comes out of it. But also hopefully our neighborhoods are not destroyed either. The National Guard was deployed early this morning, to try to quell the riots and get ahead of the situation. And yeah, I will be keeping you updated as things go on. As of now, Philadelphia has not put out a curfew yet. No curfew as of yet. But I'll continue to keep you guys updated. But I'm just pleading with people. If you're listening to this right now, if you're a black person, if you happen to live in Philadelphia or another city, please do not riot and loot, because violence is not the answer. Violence will only lead to more violence, and we must be better than the system that continues to oppress us.